Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to show you some shims that we're making for a client out of acrylic plastic. Won't get too technical in terms of the type of plastic and the reasoning why. The client really doesn't care in the sense that whether it be polycarbonate or plexiglass or acrylic is not of any significance for this project. The client needs a plastic shim, a particular size, two different sizes actually, that's eighth of an inch thick, and black actually is what they want. Now, this is for a prime contractor. A prime contractor would be the contractor that sits right at the top of the construction pyramid, and they're going to be the company that's doing the job overall. The prime contractor that built the Sears Tower in Chicago, Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, would be the prime contractor. So this is a national prime contractor, and for some reason, they need lots of these shims. 4,000 of shim one and 1,000 of shim two, or the other way around. 5,000 total shims. I don't know what they're using these for. I don't believe it's for anything for builders hardware, but at the end of the day, it really just doesn't matter what they're using them for, in the sense that if you need to build something off, add something off, if you need to create an additional space to compensate for a limitation of something or reaching something or some obstacle that's in the way, you know, we're just going to call it a shim because that's all I know about it. Eighth inch and black and plastic and two different shapes. So that's what this is going to be about. Let's switch to the screen view and let me show you the drawing that the client has submitted to us. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now let's get back to it. So our client called and said, hey, I need these plastic shims. And the person who answered the phone said, okay, yeah, no, we've got a department for that stuff, which is me and the ShopBot CNC. And the person who answered the phone, my son Terry, said, yeah, send us your drawing. And here's the drawing. So let's just take a look and see what this is all about. So this is the very first thing that I ever saw. So plate type 1, 10 inch by 4 inch. It's cut off here at the bottom, but a couple of holes. They drew it at a 16th of an inch. Okay, no problem. Plate number 2, I guess. Yeah, plate number 2, 4 inch wide again, 15.5 inch tall. Some holes in it. Okay, well, that's no big deal. Awesome. So let's take a look at what else they wanted. And that was what they wanted. So what I did was I created a concept, which is shown here. This is just the tool pathing that I had quickly made based on that drawing. And we'll just let this run, creating those holes. This is probably the 15.5 inch plate number 2. And our only goal today is to make a couple of prototypes, to send them to the client. That's just what the goal is. So that's the concept. That's one of the two plates. Not too much really there to brag home about. That's for sure. Right on. So let's push forward. And some more dialogue with the client just basically resulted in how many, and then confirming the thickness, and then also confirming the color. So, the client said these are for shimming base plates. Okay, awesome. So they need lots of parts, and then that's the count. And here's the final, well, it's not the final drawing, but here's the revised drawing they sent. And the problem with the revised drawing is uh, drawing number 1, 4.5 inch. So they tweaked the couple of sizes here. It's 14 by 4.5. They drew it at 1/4 inch thick. Well, the client did confirm 1/8 inch thick. Plate number 2, 3-inch wide, 10.5 inch long, and then again, some holes are going to be put in each of these. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to replicate these parts in V-carve, and we're gonna cut a couple of them. The client gave me the missing dimensions. I know what the radius on the corners are, the diameter of the holes, etc. So let's switch now to V-carve and let's just draw these. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, let's move forward with having some fun with this. So we have our drawings here that we can clearly see, 1/8 inch thick, dimensions, etc., etc. So we're going to pull up V-carve, and this is a project that I was running yesterday. I was making some thin door spacers. 2 clients call within basically 3 days of each other, needing the same thickness acrylic, black acceptable to the client. So let's do this. Let's bring a guideline over to maybe a 15 inch just to keep it. How far are we off? 1/2 inch? Yeah, that's actually adequate because this tool pathing here, all these are gone. These don't exist anymore. The sheet now looks like this. And the reason I have it pushed over is my datum is here. The 0, 0 on the XY. I like to push the workpiece over so that my dust collector is picking all of this up. All right, let's move on with prototyping this. So a guideline at 15, and then I'm going to need a guideline at 1/2 inch over, 1.5 inch over. All right, let's just draw those two. Relative guide at 0.5, and you'll see why I'm doing those in a moment. 0.5, create new guide, and then I need one at 1.5, right? Then I need one at 12.5, then I need one at 13.5. 12.5, and then 13.5. Then I need one at 14. Yeah, so let's close. So what I'm doing is these guidelines, they're going to serve to give me points of reference is just simply the bottom line. I've got a vertical guideline for the outside edge, for this line, for this hole, for this hole, for this line, and then for the outside edge, I hope. So 1.5 inch to 12.5 to 14, and then 1/2 inch from either edge. So let's put the tape measure on here. It should be 14 overall. And I'm not really concerned about blowing this because these are just prototypes, so that's looking good. 1/2 inch, yeah, I like that. So we should be at 1.5 inch here. Yep. We should be at 11 inch to here. Yep. We should be at 1.5 inch to here. Right? And then we should be at 1/2 inch to here. Okay, that all looks good. And I'm staying far enough away from the earlier prep work that's here. So we'll just draw this one. And the issue is, why am I drawing it this way? Well, it'll be fine. No big deal. Let's just literally draw them this way for the sake of making our part look like what our drawing is. Okay. And maybe what I'll do is I'll put a little engrave in here, plate 1, plate 2. We'll see. I really don't have that much time. This has square corners, this one. So we're going to use this is really important now. This is the part where we figure out what bit we're going to use. Because I was running that acrylic job yesterday, I know that I'm going to use an 1/8 of an inch down spiral bit. It's long story short, it's the bit that I have right now. My order of the proper bits that I wanted to use, there was a failure in us receiving them on time. So we're using the bit that we have. If you can't be with the one you love, that's what we're doing. We're loving the one we're with. So I'm going to come over 1/2 inch just to be using better denominators when I'm thinking about this. So I'm going to come over 1/2 inch with the first line, and that will represent this outside edge, then 1.5 inch over, then 3 over. So let's just do that. So from here, I'm going to want one at 0.5. I'm going to want one at 1.5. And then I'm going to want one at 3 inch, I think. Yeah, that's right. I need one at 0.5. I need one at 1.5, then one at 3. Here, here, here. Righto. Something doesn't look right there. This should be ½ inch. No, that's 1 inch. That's ½ inch. Okay. So ½ inch to here. That's got a guideline in the wrong place. What would be very helpful for me to do is simply draw the first vector so that I can visually see where it is. So it's going to be 4½ inch tall. Let's bring in the vertical vectors rather than start drawing this one. So we're going to be at the bottom, 2¼ then the top, with ½ inch and ½ inch. ½ inch, 2¼ 1 3/4, and then 2¼ Okay, I see what we're doing here. So let's bring in from the bottom, which is going to be here. I want one at 0.5. I want one at 2.25. I want one at 4.5. Oh, I want one at 4, then 4.5. 4, 4.5. And again, it'll be obvious why I'm doing all of that. So now our vector, is that ½ inch? Yeah, that's ½ inch. So we're starting there. Then let's go from the bottom. I got to get one at ½ inch. Okay, well, that created it somewhere. It's creating my guidelines a ½ inch from the bottom. It's not where I want that. Oh, you goof. I figured it out. Okay. Ready? I need to click relative to guide. That's why my lines are off. Okay. So we're good with the guidelines on the X. All right. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that and that one. So from here, relative to guide, 0.5. Right. This guideline can go away. This guideline can go away. That can go away. They're not because they don't correlate to anything that we're doing here. All right, so our corner is going to be here where we're going to start. So these should be a ½ inch off from here. Oh, that's 1 inch. Well, I'm not sure why, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, okay, so we're actually from here to here is ½ inch. Then from here to here is 1 inch. But I'm starting from here. Right. So my point of origin is going to be right here. Yeah, okay. What is this distance from here to here? It's 1/4. No. What I want to do is put a guideline at the base, and then we're going to push up ½ inch. Okay, that's where I want to be. I don't want to be here. I want to be a ½ inch off the bottom edge. So that's this point here. So ½ inch from here, ½ inch from here. That's going to be our corner. And let's just give ourselves a little mark of where our origin is for this workpiece. Okay, so we need to have, on the X we've done it, now we have to do it on the Y, and we need 0, and then ½ 2¼ 4, and then 4½. So we need to have ½ 2¼ 4, 4.5. Okay, so now this is going to be 4½ tall and 14 wide. We're getting up to there. Very good. Okay, so one more time. From here to here, that should be 4 inch. Nope, that's 4½. Is that what we need? Yes, it is. And then from here to here should be 14, and it is. Okay, let's draw that vector so that we have a point of reference. 4½, and then 14. Okay, that's in a good spot. Let's get rid of that vector as we don't need it. Just gets a little confusing to stare at with all these guidelines. It's turning them off, makes it a lot easier to see what you're doing. Okay, so that's the first one. Now let's draw on the second one, get the outside vector in, and this should be a 1/2 inch. Yeah, it is. Okay, very good. So now let's put a vector right down here because that's where we're going to start from. That's this corner. So we need to be at 1.5 and 3. So from here, we need to be at relative, create, create, close. All right, now we have those guidelines. Now we're going to go up 1.5 inches, 3.5, 7, 1.5 inches, 3.5, 7, 9, and 10.5. 9, 10.5. Now we should have guidelines for everything needed there. So let's measure 10.5. Okay. So we should now be to that corner. Let's draw an outside vector. Let's do some measuring. So we know we have to be from the base to 1.5 inches, and then to 3.5 for this hole, then to 7, then to 9, then to 10.5. Nope. Okay. Okay. No, yeah. Okay. So 1.5 inches. That's the first one. And then 3.5, which is there. Then 7, which is probably going to be there. Yeah. Then 9, right? Yes. And then 10.5. Okay. So we've got those locations. So now the guidelines are giving us intersection points where we can add vectors. So when I look at the client's drawing, 9/16 diameter, 9/16 diameter on all these holes, 9/16 diameter. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 9/16 holes to these pieces. So right in the center, an 1.5 inches over. Right in the center, an 1.5 inches over. Okay, so that's going to be one right there. We want a diameter of 5.625, 9/16, create, apply. Okay, great. That looks good to me. Now we need another one down here, an 1.5 inches over. So Control C, Control V. It's going to go here. I think we're going to check them, that's for sure. Then I need another one. I think it's going to be here. Let's check that. 1.5 inches. That's 1.25 inches. It needs to be at 1.5 inches. So let's move that to here. Control C, Control V. I think it needs to be there. That should be 3.5 inches from the end. Let's check that since we're here. Yes. Then we're going to need one up at 7. Should be here. And another one should be right here. Well, they look symmetrical. Let's get rid of this temporary vector. We need to double check these dimensions. So 1.5 inches, 3.5 inches, 7, and 9. 1.5 inches, 3.5 inches, 7, and 9. Okay. The overall height is 10.5 inches. I think that's correct. Right. Let's check the overall width. At 3, that's correct. Let's check this one. It's 14 by 4.5, 1.5 inches, 12.5, 1.5 inches, 12.5, and then the overall is 14. Yeah, 14. It's 4.5 tall. To the center is going to be 2.25. Yeah, 4.5. Yeah, okay. So the last thing we have to do is give it these radiuses. So let's do that. Those are 1/2 inch radius. So we need a vector. We need this. Now, this is why I put those other guidelines. 1/2 inch radius. There we go. There, there, there. Done. Plate 2 has square corners. Let's get rid of this vector. All right. Whoa. It's a story with that vector. That don't belong there. Delete. Yeah, 1/2 inch radius. It's definitely what they're showing us here. That symbol means diameter. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to fix this outside vector in the sense that we're using this to create radius corners. So we're going to use our trim tool. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of that and that. I don't think I have to group that. Now, when we look at these plates, yeah, they kind of look right. And I've double checked the dimensions, so I'm reasonably sure that they're accurate. And that's all a single vector, so that's all joined. That's beautiful. That'll toolpath beautifully. So, what do we do now? What do we do now? Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know.